Sweet. Sweet as. Sweet as. Gonna try something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more out the box here. This time I'm gonna rank some 20 Game of Thrones houses ranked by how quickly they'd get me killed. Obviously, S tier, instant game over, all the way down to very likely dead, dangerous but playable, risky but livable, and surprisingly safe, which is obviously a rare Game of Thrones win. There's not many, I'm only going with 20, obviously there's a lot of houses, but I'm just going to go with 20 here just for starters. Tell me what you think of this kind of idea, any other cool ideas I could try, and drop a wee subscribe and like if you like the video. Thanks very much guys. I'll start with House Aaron. One of the oldest Andal houses. They rule the Vale from the Eyrie, which is, you know, a castle so high it's nearly impossible to assault. Their power comes from geography though, not necessarily military aggression. Now, why I'd die is because their leadership is often weak or easily manipulated. You know, Peter Baelish, the lady that kills Jon Arryn, the child is a child. So it's, to me, it's a perfect castle for survival, but there's zero adult supervision. So we're going to go dangerous but playable here. Just like if the castle on its own for sure, but yeah, I don't know. What's going on there? Can't trust nobody. Sharks everywhere. House Baratheon, founded by Orys Baratheon, Aegon's right-hand man back in the conquest. Known for strength, not subtlety. But fair to say the house collapses after Big Bobby B's death due to succession disputes, which is, I mean, let's be honest, quite common. Why I'd die would be the power vacuum. If we're going to be great off the books, off the show, the power vacuum attracts war instantly. And look, you'd have to pick one. You'd have to choose a Baratheon. If you choose the wrong Baratheon, that's the end of the run. So, I'm going to be honest, very likely dead. They just attract war. Ooh, House Blackwood. That's a lesser house. I shouldn't say lesser. I don't mean disrespectfully. I mean like lesser known. Ancient house predating the Targaryens. They worship the old gods despite living in the Riverlands. Quite rare. That's that far south. Normally more Andal worship. Locked in a centuries-long feud with House Bracken. House Bracken aren't on this list. They're on my other one. Now, why I'd die is because clearly a centuries-long feud. Feuds never end. There's something in the water around here. Someone always wants revenge. Feels like the house themselves. They're still alive, but purely out of spite. But they are still alive. Risky but livable, I think. They predate the Targaryens, like. And if you're only feuding with House Bracken, you're not totally involved with, you know, the monster houses. Oh great, House Bolton. Once rival kings to the Starks in the north. Famous for flaying enemies alive, hence the banner. Ruled the Dreadfort for centuries. Now why I die in House Bolton is because loyalty is temporary. Cruelty is permanent. I feel like you don't die in battle, you die. Man, they just, nah, I'm gonna go instinct. Look at the sigil! It's a flayed man! It's crazy. House Dane, based in Dorne, at Starfall, right down the bottom. Known for the legendary sword, Dorne. Produces the title Sword of the Morning, one of the highest martial honours. Now there isn't one in the current state of the books. Arthur Dane was the last one. You don't need to talk about Arthur Dane, he's the man. But like they are southern, they're in Dorne, and they essentially do a lot of Dorne cities, houses stay out of the conflict, the major conflicts, and House Dane is absolutely another one. The reason why I would probably die is because you're expected to live up to that reputation and get involved in stuff, but they're still built different. I'm going to go risky but livable, for House Dane, just because of they're kind of just chilling. Great. House Frey, another good one. Control the twins, a key crossing of the Riverlands. Obviously, hence Rob having to marry to, promise that marriage to get his way through it. Power comes from location, not respect, and they're resented by pretty much everyone, just because look at them. Walder Frey's awful. And why I would die is because alliance mean nothing to them. And look, I haven't been to many, but I do love a wedding. So, I mean, I'm susceptible. I'm going to go instant game over above the Boltons, even though they're all involved in the same thing. House Glover. Northern Bannermen loyal to the Starks. They rule Deepwood Motte, known more for survival than ambition. Why I'd die? I don't know why I said it like that. Why I'd die? Honestly, I probably wouldn't. Like, he's like the NPC that survives the whole campaign. He's just there the whole time. Legend. And obviously where they're at the books. The show Glovers, he turns into a pussy. But the show Glover is working with the Mandaleys to get Rickon back. To get Rickon back from Skagos. And potentially put a Stark back in Winterfell that way. So... But like, I mean, Galbert Glover, he doesn't perish. He's not at the Red Wedding. I don't know if he's at the Red Wedding or not, to be fair, and maybe he gets out, but I was surprised if no one got out. Regardless, I'm going to go surprisingly safe, the first one. I mean, their lords made it through this war, and he's going to come out, if not, alive. He's putting his house in a good spot. House Greyjoy. They rule the Iron Islands, culture built on raiding and conquest. And let's be honest, historically terrible at timing when to rebel. And I think I'd die is because the Greyjoys have this thing where they constantly want to start wars with everybody, but nobody likes them. They have no allies, but they want to fight everybody. It's stupid. Cool characters, like cool house, no doubt about it, but that's just dumb of them. What is dead may never die, except for me in this instance. Instant game over. I'm going to put them below them though, because those other two are just, scumbags. House Lannister. The wealthiest house in Westeros, no doubt. Control the Westerlands. Warden of the West, old Tywin was, before he was back at hand. But power attracts enemies and resentment, especially wealth and power. Let's be honest, wealth attracts a lot more resentment. Why I'd die? Just because internal family politics in that house. I feel they're deadlier than war to these Lannies. And I think, like, if you're going to be there, it's kind of lucky, especially in a feudal setting like that, because even if it's briefly, you will live well. You will live with the best things that money can buy, and maybe that's good, but still at the end of the day, they're very likely dead because, god damn, they just evolved in all the stuff, and like they're resented because they're wealthy, but they also they've started some shit. House Martell, the Princes of Dawn, not Lords, because they technically what's the word? They avoided being conquered by Aegon. And that's for that reason, 300 years prior, that happened, and they're culturally distinct from the rest of Westeros. They have long memories, but they hold longer grudges. Their revenge plans can take 20 years, but they'll try and get you. But I mean, like if we can go off Oberyn, Oberyn's won all the Sand Snakes. You don't die fast, but you will die poetically. But you will die. Yeah, very likely dead. Because they've got beef. They've got so much beef with the Lannisters and the Clegane. Oberyn risked himself for a Lannister just to, I'm not saying I'd do that, I'm not that silly. But if I was in House Martell, I might be that silly. Who's next? Mormont. They rule Bear Island, known for fierce loyalty and warrior culture. Historically poor, but respected. And why I'd die is because the Mormons, they're quite a small island, they're always fighting someone bigger. So yeah. And you know, being north, that far north, you're kind of also dealing with wildlings as well. Dangerous but playable for the Mormons. House Redwine. Control the Arbor. Operate one of the largest fleets in Westeros. Extremely wealthy from wine trade, hence the grapes on the sigil. I don't think I'd die with where we're at in the books, and I think I'd be pretty pissed too. I'd be pretty drunk. So we're going to probably go the safest house, but where we're going, like in the books, where we're literally at, where George has decided to have a wee 15-year hiatus, the Red Wine Fleet is probably going to be completely obliterated by the Iron Fleet and the Greyjoys. So probably going to run straight up to... That's not instant game over though, is it? It's not straight up to the top because I've lived the whole books and pissed airs. But it's not going to end well for them. House Royce. Not House Royce. I missed House Reed. House Reed. They rule Greywater Watch, a moving castle in the neck. Masters of guerrilla warfare. They've known all a bunch of, like, you know, they got the wee blowpipe and stuff, all this magic stuff. Sworn to House Stark. Obviously, maybe sworn with a bit more secrecy than they let on too. Why I'd die if I was a member of House Reed? Come on, I'm not going to die as a member of House Reed. They're the safest house because no one cares. Well, no one knows where they are. No one cares. No one cares. House Reed, probably the safest. It's only when Mira, Jojen, and Howland go out and get involved in shit is when shit goes down. Otherwise, like, Howland's gone back to the neck and he's chilled there for 20 years. House Royce. Ancient First Men house. Very just heavy armored traditional warriors that are loyal to the Arryns and the Vale. Now, the one obviously, like, pretty much one of the first deaths we see. It might even be the first, I can't recall, it's just foggy, is a Royce. There's Waymar Royce in the very first book's prologue, when he gets ganked by the White Walkers. But besides him, like, they're involved in the tourney at King's Landing, like, they're just involved in political stuff, and they, you know, they're just... I don't know, I feel it's risky. I wouldn't go surprisingly safe for House Royce because of that intro, but I think it's still risky but livable, because they're just living kind of normal lives in the scheme of things. House Seaworth. Founded by Davos, not noble blood. Power comes from loyalty and competence. Now, I think he survived simply off common sense. Now, the boys all died tragically in the Battle of Blackwater Bay, but I'm not going to count that. Davos is smart. I'd mind my own business if I was a Seaworth. I'm going to go surprisingly safe, but the top of surprisingly safe. I think House Seaworth. Mate, you could just deliver onions all day. House Stark. I'm not going to put them in instant game over, but they'll be the second one. Ancient Kings of the North. I don't know if they need any real description. They rule by honor and tradition. Honestly, probably rigid, far too rigid in their honor, but they do. Very, very politically naive when they go to the south. That's just been a constant thing for them. And sadly, honor gets you killed in King's Landing. Now, I'd try and do the right thing if I were Stark, and I'd be dead by episode 4. So I'm going to go very likely dead. Just because they're so honor bound. Look at Ned. House Targaryen. Former rulers of Westeros. Dragons equals absolute power. And there's obviously a history of civil war. Why I die? Because they say madness is a coin flip, so that's 50-50, that's not good. I I feel like I'd want a quiet life, but that's not really a Targaryen thing, because you want that, and all of a sudden you're getting burnt alive by your cousin's dragon because they want the throne. So I think it's just game over. What Targaryens have died peacefully in their sleep? Piss all. House Tarly. Military-focused Reach House, known for discipline and strict hierarchy, hostile to weakness. Why I'd die? Probably because I think I'd be susceptible to emotional damage. I think it still counts, and the dad's a bit of a bully. I think it'd be a great house. Look at Dickon Tarly. Great house unless dad hates you. Dangerous but playable, I think. But probably more dangerous than Mormont, yeah. House Tully. Lords of the Riverlands. Now, sadly, the strategic location for their castle makes them war magnets. Very honourable, but they are stretched thin. There's not too many of them. You know. Someone's always invading just where they're positioned. The Riverlands are just kind of... It's just that kind of area on the map. It literally exists to be invaded. But still, do you really... none of the major ones in the books die in combat, do they? Risky but livable. And last but not least, House Tyrell. Lords of the Reach. Masters of soft power and alliances. They think wealth is greater than brute force. Sadly, as soon as the leadership changes, we're in big trouble. So as long as Grandma's alive, we're safe. But it's Grandma. I'm going to go dangerous but playable. Well, look at that. It's all split up perfectly. The 4-4-4-4. I didn't even intend to do that. Huh. Well, yeah. So as long as Grandma's alive, you're good. But, like, yeah, they'll shoot right up to the top when Grandma goes. Because she's the GOAT. Olenna Tyrell is amazing. Anyway, let me know what you think. What other houses maybe I should do. I could do a part 2. What other houses, but... yeah. Just comment how you think you'd die. What house you'd pick, and yeah. Just let me know what's going on. Sure.